It's Iron Bowl week, and we're going to talk about it here. As promised, this is going to be the Iron Bowl preview. Probably one of the weirdest previews we've ever done because Auburn has not lost to a group of five school before an Iron Bowl, at least not in my lifetime. Quite the storyline pivot from what we thought it was going to be a week ago. Welcome to the Auburn Daily Show. It's your host, Alex, a.k.a. Auburn Memes. Very, very long, special, long-time coming guests with us. None other than Chris Marler at Vern Funquist with Saturday Down South, host of the Saturday Football Uncensored show. Welcome, Chris. Are you ready to talk about some Iron Bowl?
I am, man. I'm excited. It's been I would not have thought that the Iron Bowl week would have started the way it did. I definitely would not have thought that I would have pissed off Bama fans to start the week as a guy that grew up in an Alabama household. Just kind of wild. Wild starts the week. I don't think any of us expected Saturday. But that being said,
where were you when it happened?
When you guys lost in New Mexico State?
I said it. I didn't specify what it was.
Rolling on the floor laughing is where I was. I mean, here's the thing. Like in baseball, like I played baseball like my whole life, and I remember like longer season. It's very different. But I remember games in baseball a lot of times, especially in college. We would like just try to get out of a slump, get out of a funk, and like you would just throw that game away. Go out with your buddies, forget about it. Maybe either go to the cage and get extra reps in, or just like don't at all. Just switch it up completely. But either way, you get that game and that taste out of your mouth as far away, as far away as you can. Just put it in, like, bury it, throw it away, whatever. That's like the case for this New Mexico State loss for Auburn. Like, it sucks. It's embarrassing. But here's the thing. Stop comparing it to Louisiana Monroe. Stop comparing it to like other. I saw something today. It might have been from this publication. I don't know. That was like, Kirby Smart barely beat Nicholls State. And you went, stop comparing it to other schools and just say, we got our behinds kicked by a G5 school. I mean, they got embarrassed at home. But this game, the Iron Bowl, never plays out like that. Like, even in Bama's like national championship years, 2015, it did not play out like that. Right?
Yeah, I mean, a gimpy Jeremy Johnson, a gimpy Jeremy Johnson came in and made those games, at least for at times. I believe it was the 2015 game was fairly close, at least for the first half. Maybe even going into the third quarter.
At one point. It was like I think the final was like 29-13.
Mm-hmm.
But also Bama scored like on the last play of that game, or like one of the last plays of the game was like within the last minute. So, I mean, hell, you guys had a gimpy TJ Finley out there in 2021. He was basically like a telephone pole with a right arm and moved like one, and you guys still took him to 4 overtime. So I think like there's a lot to process from that loss, but I think you process it next year. I think you process it after the season. You get yourself in your mind ready for this game. And I think it's going to be a good game.
Now, I'm trying to pull up that, and for those out there listening, the allergies, the sinuses, the food poisonings I'm currently suffering from, unreal. So this is we're fighting through this podcast. If I sound,
I have my tongue, and so I have like a little bit of a lisp.
Yeah, so this is you have Chris and I's worst versions of ourselves. So
yeah, I can't say Mississippi State.
Apologies ahead of time. All right, so I told you I was going to ask this very uncomfortable question right out of the gate here. Oh, before I do that, that Iron Bowl 2015 was into the first quarter. It was 6-3, and then it was 12-0 into halftime. So Alabama on a 12-point lead, and then both teams scored in the third quarter, and then Alabama got 10 in the fourth. So up until the very end there, I mean, that wasn't a horrifically, and I think Auburn scored before Alabama did the third. I mean, it was the game, the score was closer than the game was, but you have one drive that makes a difference there. It goes, and that was obviously a very beat up, very injured Auburn team, of course, with Sean White out and Jeremy Johnson. So yeah, I was going to ask you this: if Auburn wins this game, what's the score?
If Auburn wins this game, I would say like you wouldn't let Bama get to the 30s because Auburn's not going to score 30. I mean, it would be like one of those 80s, like I'm dating myself here, obviously, but like 20, I think like the 85 game, I think the final score was like 25-23. It would be like a 24-23 type of game, like the 97 game. It would be like maybe the 2010 game where it's like a 28-27. Here's my opinion on this game for Auburn to win. I know they didn't win this game, but to win the game, I think you need to come out like you did in 2009. And that is, you have nothing to lose, right? Like double reverse pass. Like I think the way that game started was Chris, what was his name? The quarterback. Chris Todd came out. There was like a double reverse pass for a touchdown. Auburn went up 7-0. Bama's ranked number 2 in the country, undefeated, trying to get to the BCS national championship game. And they go up 7-0. They do an onside kick and they score again. And just like that, they're up 14-0. I think if you're Auburn, that's the kind of stuff you have to do. You got like Bama's been a really, really good second half team. But here's the thing. All of these second half comebacks they've had have been at home, right? Like they had a huge second half comeback against Ole Miss. They had a big second half comeback against Tennessee. And then LSU, they're tied at the half, down by 7 earlier in third, and they come from behind in that game too and win. They've been really good at making second half adjustments, but the only time they've really had to prove any of that on the road was A&M. And A&M is not a great team for one. They had a backup quarterback in, and on top of that, like that game was a 26-20 final. Like, Auburn needs to keep this thing close in the second half, and I hate to use this cliche, but you guys know it's true as Auburn fans, is keep it close in the second half, and if you're ahead, let Jordan Hare work, man. Like, let Jordan Hare go to work and have that crowd stay in it. Because one thing I know about Auburn fans more than anything, I don't care if they would have beaten New Mexico State by 50 last week or lost to them like they did by 3 scores. They are going to show up, and when right, the pregame clock in Jordan Hare that's saying, hey, there's this many minutes to kick off. When that hits 0, and this time David Housel said, like, those fans will have turned themselves into full-on believers that they are going to upset Alabama. And I think that's what you have to do.
Yeah, I think the funniest thing is, and people joked about it, but like I think the joke will soon become a reality, because I think you're right, because it was like, if we'd beat New Mexico State, I'd have spent all week talking to myself into how we were going to win this game. And you heard Rick in that Twitter space, which was incredible for those who weren't there this past Saturday night.
Oh, Rick.
And Rick is over there screaming, and due to the graphic nature, we can't repeat some of the things Rick said, but Rick was going through some things. Yeah. And even Rick said that he was going to wake up Saturday, he was going to have a few drinks, and before that kickoff, he was going to somehow talk himself into this win. And I think you're right. Yeah. There will be some people that do that. They'll probably go to the tailgate. They'll start drinking early. They'll get a little loose and look at that stadium and say, you know what? This is special. We're going to win this. And that's going to be the greatest feeling till like probably the first 5 minutes of the first quarter. And then it's going to be okay,
probably a little bit longer than that.
Yeah, but maybe.
Longer. You never know.
Maybe. But yeah, so the other thing, I love transitive property when it pushes the narrative that I want to push. And by the transitive property, Alabama only beat Arkansas by 3 points.
Yeah.
So
is there a follow-up there, or you just tell me you reminded me of that nightmare?
No, I'm just saying Auburn beat Arkansas by over 3 touchdowns. So like if the math adds up there, which I don't see how it couldn't, Auburn should be favored this game.
Yeah, by a lot.
Yeah. I don't know what
Vegas is thinking. If Bama's watching Polar Express at halftime, like all signs should be pointing to an Auburn win.
That would be incredible. That'd be a great troll if they just put Polar Express on in the with no remote, like they can't turn it off.
That would be good.
Like they've mounted just TVs everywhere, and they're in Polar Express display, because obviously that whatever Tom Hanks magic had something there that got him. But the other thing I want to
Iowa painted their visitors' locker room pink, because just from the human nature, that's a very soft color that it's like hard to be like super pumped. It doesn't like light pink doesn't evoke a lot of, I don't know, hype emotions. So they painted their visitors' locker room pink. That's what you guys should do for your visitors' locker room. Is just paint it pink and then put Polar Express posters up everywhere.
I'm going to take that to the next extreme. I'm thinking like a day spa, like have the lights real low, have some plants, like essential oils diffusing in there with some like very kind of like, white noise, maybe like rain. Basically, it kind of put them to sleep. Like,
I like that.
There's got to be, like, I'd be really curious to like, is there any, because it's not like harassing or it's not like an inhumane deal. I think it's more like therapeutic. Just like, we want to put them in a really nice environment and like almost so relaxing where they're just like, might be on something there. I need to make some calls because I mean that wouldn't cost a lot of money. I mean, it's not like day spas or Auburn's got the boosters to make that happen. So
for sure.
Going back to what I was saying earlier about Las Vegas, the spread for this game I think is sitting at 15 and a half.
14 and a half is what I saw this morning.
14 and a half. What do you think about that spread?
As a Bama fan, I like it because I was kind of shocked. I think it was like 10 a week ago. It was at 10, which is
probably
concerning.
Maybe something happened in the last week that changed that.
Oh no. Sorry, hold on a second. Something is going viral. Anyway, no. So I think that's good. I think the concern is like if you're wanting a positive for Auburn, especially, Vegas.
There's not one, but I appreciate you trying.
I got you. Vegas has been so wrong about Alabama for most of the year, and you look at 6 of those 9 games. There's actually been a spread they've played, right? Or maybe it's 6 of 10. But like in the big ones, like Texas, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Texas A&M. Texas A&M was closer. Kentucky, LSU, and then like in those 7 games, you're talking about a spread that was set by Vegas and that they were wrong about by at least 7 points or more. Texas, you're a what do you call it? A 7-point favorite, you lose by 10. Tennessee, you're a 7-point favorite, you win by 14. LSU, you're a 3-point favorite, you win by 14. A&M got all the way down to a pick'em at one point. They won by 6, and A&M scored late. But like Ole Miss, 7-point favorite, you won by 14. Kentucky, 10-point favorite, you won by 28. Like Vegas has not really done a good job at pinning down what Alabama is. So I think at the 14 and a half, it's confusing because it makes sense on paper, right? Like Bama should be able to go in here and beat this team by more than 14 points, but we've seen this before. 2021, they were a 21-point favorite with a much better team, mind you.
What's the total points scored for this game, like combined?
Are you asking what Vegas has said at?
Yeah. What does Vegas have it at?
Why am I doing your job for you?
I'm in Studio Barn right now, and I don't really have a great mouse set up, so I appreciate it. I'm not on the desk. I'm on a pile of books on the nightstand. 48 and a half?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll call it 49 points.
You're saying so they're basically saying it's a 31-17 game.
That was very quick math.
Well, that's what I was about 14 and a half point spread.
That was incredible. Good job. Yeah.
That's nice.
Oh, nice. Way to put on silent. So here's my thing about Alabama, and I got a few things I want to get here. I want to get your opinion on them, or my takes of this. So what is unusual about this Bama team to years in the past is I cannot remember really a Bama team that has just gotten progressively better as the season goes on. Usually they come out strong and they just stay strong.
Yeah.
But this is a Bama team that at the beginning of the season, I think people are looking at the schedule saying there's easily, after the Texas loss, there's probably 2 more losses at least on the schedule. And I think some people had Tennessee, LSU, and Auburn circled and saying, we'll even go A&M. I say they lose 2 of those 4. And obviously that didn't happen, and the trajectory's looking much better. So much so to where they benched Milroe against USF. And that was just where I was just throwing the hands up in the air. I prayed for days like this meme. I'm like, it finally has happened.
Yeah.
To where everything that I've just wanted this program to go through, they're finally going through. And it really felt great for about 7 days. And
yeah, I'll tell you what, the biggest mistake that came out of that was the day after my Auburn grad girlfriend asked me to go to a wedding shower on December 2nd. And we had just played South Florida and won in not very convincing fashion. So I was like, yeah, it's fine. Like, I'm not, who cares? Like, Bama's not going to make it. But I will say this. I said this for the start of the season. Like, and I stand by it. And people aren't going to like to hear this, especially on an Auburn episode, but I'm just being honest. And I feel like I've said a lot of positive things to Auburn fans so far.
You've done great. You've done great.
Hear me out here. This whole concept of like the dynasty being dead, it's not what it once was. I think that's fair to say. Like you look at different positions and position units, and there's a noticeable drop off. Offensive line, wide receiver play, quarterback, clearly, even though Milrow has been outstanding for most of the year. But here's the thing. This whole idea that the dynasty is dead, I've heard this for like the last 3 or 4 years in a row, like, you know, because you're not going to be able to like replicate the crazy success that Bama has had over the last like 15 years under Saban. No one will. I mean, maybe Georgia, but like I don't know. Like it's so much sustained success that it's like mind blowing. I mean, 9 national title games appearances in 14 years, 6 natties in 12 years at one point. That is insane. But like the idea that the dynasty is dead, I think fans, rival fans, wanted to believe that so badly that it became their narrative. And it became like, no, like the dynasty's dead. They're going to lose 3 to 4 games this year. And I said in the summer, and people didn't want to listen to this. I said it last summer going to the Texas game that this Bama team would only win that game by 1 score because Texas, it's on the road. People don't want to give them credit and like blah, blah, blah. They won by 1 point. This season, going into the season, I said they would lose that game by 10 plus points. They lost by 10 points exactly. And then, you know, you have your backs against the wall for the rest of the season. And I'm pleasantly surprised that Bama's been able to be as good as they've been throughout the year. But the idea that the dynasty's dead just because you want it to be, I want a lot of things. I want to lose weight. I want Georgia to lose a game. You know, I want to not lose my keys every morning. All those things I want to happen, none of them happen. None of them happen. So, like, just because you want to believe something will into existence doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Good title for this episode will be Iron Bowl score results be damned. The dynasty's dead.
Yeah, for sure.
Good. Okay. All right. Well, that'll be a good title for it. So just be on the lookout for that. Please retweet that. So I'm not. I know that was a lecture to me. I'm not. Like Alabama will win a national championship this year, and I will still like be tweeting that the dynasty's dead. So just.
Oh, it's not a lecture to just you. It's a lecture to a lot of people. I mean, like I said this all offseason again. Like if you're dancing on the grave, dance lightly. There's one like now they've beaten LSU. Now they've beaten Tennessee. And I said this over and over and over. Like you lost by 4 combined points on the last play of the game on the road to 2 ranked teams with what we now know are generational quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels and Hendon Hooker. And everyone wanted to be like, the sky is falling. And then and I kept looking at the schedule and I'm like, they get all these games at home? Like they get Tennessee, LSU, Ole Miss, all those games are at home? Like the Auburn game is terrifying because you got to go on the road to Jordan Hare. But like, unless you are living in Athens, Georgia, or are constantly adorned in like red and black and like barking at children and people of all ages, and you're a Georgia fan, nobody in the country should be allowed to talk trash to Bama fans right now. Because like all they've done is sat here and heard over and it's really like the country's fault. Like it's all y'all's fault for like sitting here and believing this narrative, throwing it all over social media, Saban's washed, all this kind of stuff. And now it's kind of come back, you know, what do they say? The chickens come home to roost. Like now you got to sit here and you made your bed. Now you got to lie in it. So you have to wait another year at least.
And you know what? I will absolutely be spreading the narrative next year.
I know you will.
Don't think it's going anywhere. But so dynasty's dead. Sorry. Let's go back to Milrow here.
Okay.
Milrow. He's only had 3 games where he's thrown for less than 200 yards all season. And one of those was for 194 and one was for 197. And that was because they fundamentally didn't need to was at Middleton and then Mississippi State because they just did it on the ground, or they put the backups in for cleanup duty. But every other big game, some of the biggest games, Milroe has thrown for quite a decent sum of yards. The inverse of that here, Peyton Thorne has only thrown for over 200 yards twice, and one of those was against Samford, and one was against Mississippi State. Now, I'll give him the same benefit of the doubt that I gave Milroe. He did throw for 194 against Vandy. But for the most part, a good game from Peyton Thorne thus far has been in the mid-hundreds.
Gross.
What do you think about this? Because that's going to really come down to it, as shockingly to most folks will hear that the quarterback will probably be the deciding factor of this game. What do you think about this matchup here between Milroe and Peyton Thorne? And I'm going to kind of ask it this way. What matchup and/or does Auburn have to do to exploit Milroe to have a chance in this? Yeah. And what does Peyton Thorne have to do? Same deal, exploit Alabama, make happen, whatever, to have a chance for Auburn.
You're going to have to press. You're going to play press man. You're going to have to play it well. You're going to have to get him into a situation early where he's got turnovers, right? Like, he's been really good the last several weeks. Auburn's going to have to take away the run. And this is
the quarterback run or the running back run, or just all the run?
All the run.
All the run. Okay.
They're going to take away the run.
All the runs. No runs. Got it.
And then get him in a situation where you have to take away some of that confidence. Because one of the things that has happened with Milroe, it's been a lot of fun to see, is that he's gained a lot of confidence, and deservedly so. I mean, that's a really good kid. Bama fans were it was nowhere near the level of what Georgia fans did to Stetson Bennett when he struggled, but they were pretty negative about him early on. Even halfway through the season, you saw it, and it was just like, what the hell? I mean, like, he's clearly the best option they have, but it's been really fun to watch him grow. And then you talk about the fact that, like, you know, I think he's had like 13 touchdowns in the last 3 games combined. He's been really, really good. Now, to stop that, you're going to need to get him into like some situations that are going to be uncomfortable for him that Bama hasn't been in a while. Because this, again, like, all of your tough games have been at home. Ole Miss, Tennessee, LSU, all those games have been at home. Kentucky and Kroger Field is not Jordan Hare. College Station was a pretty big moment for him where he played out of his mind and had over 300 yards passing. It was awesome the entire day. One thing that you haven't seen, like, that people have had success on against Bama early, me and Pablo Escobar talk about this a lot, is they've been good on third downs, but they get into a lot of third downs. They get into a lot of third downs, and a lot of times it's third and long. And I think you're going to have to force them into a lot of third downs where you, if you're Auburn, you almost want this. Now, hear me out here. You almost want to get it to 3rd and 3 or less if you're Auburn, because you want Tommy Rees to take the ball out of Milroe's hands and give it to Jason McClellan and that damn offensive line that's played better, but not anywhere near as good as they thought they were going to be at the start of the year, going into the season. Like, so if you can force Bama to run and take it away, I think that's where you have your success. Now, if you're Auburn at quarterback, shocked that how bad statistically the passing game has been this year. Hugh Freeze is a guy that I think he gets a lot of unfair comparisons to Gus Malzahn about his offense, but it's very different because in most instances it's been predicated off the pass, not the run. Bo Wallace is a two-time 3,000-yard passer. I mean, to put that in perspective, Auburn's only had a 3,000-yard passer twice in program history. Bo Wallace did it twice when under Hugh Freeze. Shocked that it hasn't been better, but I think it's mainly because you say what you want about the quarterback play, but also the receivers have been pretty bad and underwhelming this year in Auburn. You need something like you had with the Georgia game where, you know, you break like a 70-yard run early on in that game to get you down into scoring into the red zone.
And that was Peyton Thorne who run.
Yes, it was.
Now, I will say that game, and this is something that Auburn has done pretty much in the earlier parts of the year, even when they were having those struggle losses. And this is where I was ripping my hair out, but Auburn was getting set up basically by their defense. I mean, the touchdown they scored against A&M was a pick six, which just unfortunately didn't result in a trucking of Jimbo Fisher.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're there's not. I don't know if that is a technical. I don't know if that's a sideline warning. I don't know if that is a 12 men on the field. Like, how did the referees be like, oh, there's a coach standing 3 yards into the field? It wasn't like he had a foot off the sideline. Just not a call, nothing. That was insane to me. But regardless,
you got a touchdown, didn't you?
Yeah, it was awesome. And I would have loved to. I don't know. It'd have been awesome to be talking to him. But anyway, the deal was, if they had in the Georgia game too, they got the turnovers that put them. And I don't have anything really go their way with LSU. And the same deal, they got some turnovers. Cal. Lopsided on competition. Auburn's defense has pretty much had to put the offense in positions to score every time. And judging how the competition level here is going to be a lot closer to that of your Georgia, your A&M, your LSU, and Ole Miss. Not saying the competition level of A&M, but at least the talent, because A&M does have talented players, just not well-coached players. Then obviously with Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, and Arkansas, they're going to have to kind of go back to that same type of mentality. I mean, for this game to, I think, even be remotely close, it's going to have to be defense is going to have to get some turnovers, some crazy sacks. They're going to have to keep everything in front of them. I don't want to ask your opinion on this, but keep everything in front of them with Milroe, because it's very evident that Milroe's best, most potent part of his game is what he can do with the deep ball. And when he connects with these guys and just gets these massive deals. Now, that also has been an inconsistent part, because there's been times where you've just completely overthrown guys. But if you have 3 overthrows and 2 touchdowns, you take that every time. And Milroe has shown that is something he's been very, very effective at. Now, Auburn has very, very good secondary. They're back healthy. They've been playing well. That's going to be a very interesting matchup to see how that goes, because there have been some times to where overall the secondary has been good. There have been times where a player has been kind of caught sleeping a game. They're not always as a unit playing as consistently as they need to. If they can all play to their max potential when they need to, and they scheme it up right to keep it in front of them and just say, hey, we'll give you the mid-range throws. We will give you some of the easy runs and just see if we can stop it when it counts. But we're not going to let you torch us with a massive just crowd. And you said the other thing too is those big plays take the crowd out of it. And you'd said to the crowd. I still think that was one of the biggest issues with New Mexico State, is you're going to lose the crowd in this game. I hope they show up. I hope they believe. I hope they boog themselves into whatever it takes to get them like thinking that this is an actual chance to upset Alabama.
Right.
I don't say I'm necessarily believing that, but once again, we just need 80-something thousand other people to do that. And then offensively, I don't even begin to know what it's going to take offensively. Auburn does have a kicker who hasn't missed a field goal this season, so maybe Auburn can kick like 10, 15 field goals. But yeah, I can't be like, oh, do what you did against Arkansas. Do what you do against Vandy. You can't say that, but in the sentence with Alabama.
Yeah, so, I don't think that Auburn is going to be able to sustain drives against this Bama defense. This Bama defense is actually a lot better than people, I think, have really given them credit for. And they're really, really good in like the secondary. They've been really good like all over. But I think like, I mean, you're going to have explosive plays. Like you talk about like the 2 long like plays. Like if you miss 3 and you hit 2 for Milroe, like that makes sense. But like you need something like that to happen at least twice, I think, if you're Auburn. Like Jarquez Hunter to get loose on somebody, like, you know, somebody like loses contain or something like that on the edge. You know, I hate to say it, but like I said, like a trick play. I would not be at all surprised to see a trick play in the first 2 drives of this game if you're Auburn, like a you know, flea flicker. That one makes the most sense, or like a reverse pass. I think the reverse pass also makes a lot of sense. You're gonna have to do something like that, and like.
You remember
keep somebody.
Remember what they did with the Holden Gerner play? I can't remember if that was Georgia or Ole Miss. He just got obliterated over there.
Yeah, but I still think it's like what they
have
to
do.
None of
that, though.
So, yeah.
So I know we're gonna wrap this up here. So I want to kind of give one more, and this is a like what it would take to, you know, if I pick the winning lottery numbers, I win the lottery. But for sake of the episode, I'm gonna do it. for Auburn to win and or have a chance in this game, I think what you're going to do exactly what I said you do on defense. Keep everything in front of you, dare them to run it, and they're going to have to get pressure on Milroy. They're going to do pretty much exactly what they did to Bryce Young in 2021 and keep uncomfortable. Do I love the chances of that? Not really, but if you can somehow put it together and get some sacks and do whatever it takes to not let him connect on those deep balls, big deal. I think you got to lean on the clock rules here, and I think the best case scenario for Auburn is this is an extremely low-scoring game. Both teams are under 20, and you just blink and you're like, oh, wow, we're almost at the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And you kind of realize, like, oh, shoot, we've only had a possession or two. Kind of what New Mexico State did to Auburn is they only had one possession in the first quarter. And then at the very end of it, they got it, and it had with like a minute left, they got it on their second possession. You do stuff like that and just absolutely obliterate the time possession and just hope Alabama is trying to keep it on the ground and eat that clock up. And then just like you said there, just get one or two big plays of Jarquez breaks away, somebody missed assignment, special teams and or defensive touchdown, and then just hope that do whatever you can to keep this Alabama offense off the field and just have that crowd be as ruckus as possible. Like I said, I don't love the chances of that, but that would be the formula for success. I think what is more likely to happen is going to be kind of what Las Vegas said. So that is going to conclude us for the thoughts on this Iron Bowl. I don't even want to put adjectives to describe this thing. Chris had his hands up. Yes, Chris.
No, I got to go. I have another show.
Oh, you're waving. Oh, it was a figurative wave. I thought it was like I have a question. Anyway, well, last thing we'll do, Chris, tell everybody where they can find you and check out all the content you have going on.
Yeah. So Chris Marler, it's Saturday Down South. That's my email address. I don't know why I gave that out. So Vern Funquist on Instagram and Twitter. Vern Funquist, like I said, it's we have Saturday Football Uncensored is the podcast. We have new episodes that come out. We have a live episode on Sunday night, and then we have a show that comes out every Wednesday night or Thursday morning as well. We have a hotline as well. I don't have the number in front of me, of course, otherwise I probably shouldn't have brought that up. But check out the podcast. It's a lot of fun. I always say if you love football and hate the bleep button, Saturday Football Uncensored is probably for you. So check us out, and I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving and a great Iron Bowl, regardless of who wins. And I will hopefully talk to you guys again soon.
Absolutely. It is the greatest rivalry in college football, arguably one of the greatest rivalries in all of sports. It is Iron Bowl week, Iron Bowl weekend. No matter what, is always an exciting game, no matter what the situations are. Hope that this one will be. Want to thank everybody for tuning into today's episode. It'll be on YouTube, your podcast, the Auburn Daily Show. Like, subscribe, leave us some comments, reviews, all that stuff. Support the show. Appreciate it a lot. And, of course, thank Chris for coming on. That is going to be a wrap today, and we'll be back with another episode recapping and previewing the Iron Bowl week tomorrow. You guys have a good day.